Introduce yourselves and say what your job titles are here.
Hello, my name is Cons Gattuso. I am a run coordinator here at Fermilab Accelerator Division.
And I'm Mary Convery, and I'm the deputy run coordinator.
Okay, and if you guys could just talk about maybe what your job description is, both in a broad sense and what that means, you know, on any given day.
I'll cover the broad sense and Mary can cover any given day. So on a broad sense, our job responsibility is setting the plan for the complex and how we run the accelerators. There are what we call stores that we put in, and those stores involve the collisions of matter and antimatter for the CDF and D0 experiments. And there's also the fixed target programs that we run here. So on a given day, we set up that plan as far as when we would terminate, put a new store in, we would deal with general studies, and things of that nature, and approve activities that happen during the day.
So on a daily basis, we have a coordinating meeting at 9 o'clock every morning where the different machine departments tell us basically the performance of their machines over the past day, any problems that need to be dealt with, any studies that they want to do. And so we set at the conclusion of that meeting, we set the plan for the day, and then basically we're just troubleshooting. You know, anytime something comes up during the day, we figure out how to deal with it.
And if each of you could maybe say one of your favorite things about your job here.
Let's see, one of the favorite things is it's never the same thing twice. Every day is a different situation. It's never boring. It would be nice to get a little bit more sleep occasionally, but it's always exciting. And you're always dealing with different facets of all the accelerators. So one day you may be dealing with a vacuum problem, the next day you may be dealing with a power supply problem. And there's always personnel issues that always come up between conflicts between this studier wants to do one thing, this other studier wants to do something different, and then sorting out what can be done in the time frame that they have.
So I also really enjoy the variability from day to day, and something different every day. The other thing I really enjoy about this job is that just working with so many different people, everybody's really nice, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a good time.
And maybe what's something that's one of the toughest things, whether it's a least favorite thing or not, just one of the challenges that you face?
I think one of the challenges that we face is the fact that we both have families outside of work, and this job doesn't end from 9 to 5. You're on call 24/7, and there are times where you get woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning. There are times where you're out having dinner with your family and you get paged and you have to make a decision on the fly. So it's fun at times, but it's also at times it gets to be a little nerve-wracking in that respect.
For me, maybe the toughest thing is also the most exciting thing. It's when you have a failure and you have to decide very quickly what you want to do, how you want to react, and deal with it. I guess that's tough and exciting at the same time.
Cool. Could you say something about what made you decide to become a scientist? If there was a teacher that, or a time that you knew that science was what you wanted to do, or if it's sort of always been there for you?
For me, it was probably back in high school. Junior year in high school, I took AP Physics at the time, and there was one particular teacher, Mr. Hare, and actually two, I should say, Mrs. Johnson, that kind of steered me towards physics. And then from that point on, it was just always trying to understand how things work, how things put together, and why things do what they do. So there's always been that fascination.
For me, actually, as a kid in high school, I was most interested in math, and I did very well at math, but then it got to the point where I discovered that physics was an interesting application of math, and so I sort of came at it from that side. Not that I do much math anymore these days, but that's how it got here.
Could you sort of maybe talk about your career path a little bit, and any advice you'd have for somebody who's interested in a career like yours?
Let's see, as far as career path goes, I started actually working at the laboratory as a summer student. They had a program in both high school and high school, actually, where I came in and worked here at the laboratory with the alignment department. And then from there, I spurred on the interest into operations. And after I graduated college, I started here in the operations department and learned how the different accelerators operated, and eventually worked my way into a specific accelerator, the recycler ring. I helped build and install that machine, and from there worked my way up into being a run coordinator. We're looking at the big picture in the complex running.
So my career path was quite different, actually. So I studied physics as an undergraduate at Case Western Reserve. I also got a PhD from there in high energy physics, so I was working on a small experiment at Fermilab, which is no longer running. Then I joined CDF about 10 years ago, and so I worked in high energy physics for about 10 years. And then almost 2 years ago, I came over to the Accelerator Division, and that's where I am today. So.
Okay. And do you have any advice for somebody who's interested in getting into science?
That's a tough one. As far as advice for getting into science, I think it's fun in the sense there are so many different facets of science that you can get into. We happen to enjoy the physics aspects of things. There's biology, there's chemistry, there's just a whole host of material science type things. The only advice I can give you is if you do like science and you have a passion for it, dive into it. You're not going to get rich in some respects being a scientist, but it is fun to deal with these kinds of things. I mean, if you think about what we do here, we're coordinating the activities of a multi-billion-dollar complex, and it's kind of hard to find that kind of activity in the business world that you would work in. But it is a passion. I think it's kind of a fun thing to work with in that respect.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I mean, I do this because it's fun, and I think from the experience that I have, there are a lot of different things you can do in any given science, and I think you just have to keep working to find the one that makes you happy and that you enjoy. So.
Great. Well, thank you.